2 minutes. Stick with me, and by the end of this video you'll know 3 things. How Superman 2025 quietly laid the blueprint for the new DCU. Why Peacemaker Season 2 is way more important than people realize. And 3 hidden Easter eggs that actually reframe everything. The last one will completely change how you watch what comes next in the DC universe. Picture this. A blockbuster gives you one glowing key. A month later, an R-rated TV show grabs that key, opens a dozen doors, and starts building an entire world behind them. Superman 2025 gives us the coordinates, myth, scale, and hope. Peacemaker Season 2 takes those coordinates and builds actual streets, allies, and hidden rooms. One sets the tone, the other builds the universe. Let's start with Superman 2025. James Gunn didn't retell the origin. He skipped to the part where Clark Kent is already trying to be a symbol in a world that isn't sure it wants one. David Corenswet plays him as bright and idealistic, and the film uses that optimism to test how we, as an audience, react. It still has big action and emotional moments, but underneath all of that it's planting seeds, throwaway lines, background visuals, and character cameos that feel like small notes, scribbled in a much bigger blueprint. Rachel Brosnahan's Lois, Nicholas Holt's Lex, Isabella Merced's Hawkgirl, even Nathan Fillion's Green Lantern cameo, none of it is random. These are deliberate narrative setups. Now look at what happens right after. Peacemaker Season 2 drops exactly 1 month after the events of Superman. John Cena is back and the show is loud, chaotic, weird, and completely self-aware. But under all of that noise, it's doing something extremely intentional. Continuing the story the movie started. This isn't a side adventure. It's the next chapter disguised as a TV series. James Gunn uses Peacemaker like a narrative lab. One of the core ideas this season is the Quantum Unfolding Room, a device that opens alternate realities, each with its own rules. One is funny, one is heartbreaking, one is straight up uncomfortable. Those realities let the writers test character choices, visual styles, and plot directions. When an idea works, it's a candidate for expansion in the films. When it doesn't, it stays inside the show and still teaches the creators something valuable. It's experimentation with real stakes. That's why this actually matters for the DCU. The old movie here, TV over there model isn't sustainable anymore. Gunn and Safran are building an ecosystem. The films put down foundation stones. The shows test the strength of those stones, push against them, and decide which direction the universe should expand. It's basically a feedback loop between the audience and the creators, and it means every entry from now on could actually affect what gets made next. And creatively, the contrast between Superman and Peacemaker is what gives it life. Superman delivers mythic optimism. Peacemaker delivers messy, human consequence. One asks, what if people tried to be better? The other asks, what happens when they don't? The tension between those two ideas is the real engine of this new DCU. If you want to watch smart, here are 3 Easter eggs you should be hunting. First, the news interview cameo in Superman. Peacemaker jokes about Superman right there in a national broadcast. That isn't a gag. That's a breadcrumb that officially locks the show into the film's timeline and tells you that public perception of Superman will matter moving forward. Second, recurring tech motifs. Look for the same symbols or color patterns in both the Fortress of Solitude and the Quantum Unfolding Room. When a symbol repeats with a slight variation, that usually marks which alternate reality thread the creators are testing. Those little details are clues, not background artwork. Third, listen for lines that sound more philosophical than natural. Gunn often reuses phrases from his story treatment drafts in dialogue. When a character suddenly drops a line that feels like it sums up an entire theme, that's usually a signal of where the next Superman story is heading. That's the real takeaway. Superman 2025 handed the DCU a hopeful blueprint. Peacemaker Season 2 is building something messy, surprising, and genuinely human on top of it. If you want to actually see the DC universe evolve in real time, watch both, and watch closely, because the smallest details are now part of the story. Which one are you drawn to more, the clear-eyed hope of Superman, or the glorious chaos of Peacemaker? Drop your answer in the comments, and if you want breakdowns and theory dives like this, make sure you subscribe. The next video is going to map 5 scenes from Peacemaker Season 2 that point directly toward the Superman sequel, and I'll use screenshots and timestamps to prove it. Don't just watch the story, hunt it. See you in the next one.